Now, I'd like to give you some really crucial insights into what's really causing your vaginismus, because unfortunately there are so many myths and misconceptions about the condition out there, and it is important to really understand what's causing it in order to make a proper informed decision about how to best treat it. So regardless of what your background is or how long you've had vaginismus for, actually when women have vaginismus, it tends to be formed in pretty much identical ways from one woman to the next. And I hope what you're about to hear you'll find really reassuring and uplifting in that all the things that are causing your vaginismus are entirely changeable. So there's an expression that says that we don't see things as they are, we see things as we are, and that is entirely correct in that none of us experience life the way it actually is. But we all experience reality through our own different filters, our own different lenses. And that's things like the beliefs that we hold and particular mindsets that we can have. And this explains why two different people can have the same experience but actually respond to it in two very different ways. So you might have heard the expression of having rose-tinted spectacles on. Certainly if you're as old as me, you will have done. And when you have your rose-tinted spectacles on, what that means is you're just viewing your life in a really nice, positive way. You're expecting the best. Compared to if you have your shit-tinted spectacles on, that's quite the opposite. You're seeing things in a very negative way. You're expecting negative outcomes. And that's not to say that that is entirely reflective of reality at all, but it will be a reflection of your own particular beliefs and your own mindset within that particular experience. So just to illustrate this point and illustrate how much your beliefs can affect you, we're going to use two different examples. We're going to use a flying example and we're going to use a vaginismus or a penetration example. So to begin with, I'd like to just ask you the question, do you enjoy flying? So if you've got a flight coming up, do you feel excited about it? Or are you quite the opposite? Do you feel nervous and you think, oh my God, what if I have a panic attack? What if the plane crashes? Or you might be somewhere in between. You know, sometimes we're never just either or. So to help me explain this, we've got three boxes here. In box number one, you've got the situation. So this is the reality. This is the thing that is actually happening. And this is a person on an aeroplane. Now, in box number two, this represents their particular belief lenses. So their beliefs about flying, their particular mindset. And for this person, they believe flying is great. They love flying. And in box number three, what you have is the outcome of that. You've got their experience. So how they're going to experience that is going to be a nice positive one, purely because of their own beliefs about flying. Now we've got the same thing again, so it could be even the same flight, but for this person, they see things in a very different way. They've got their shit-tinted spectacles on and they think flying is really dangerous. You know, you're up there at 35,000 feet in the air in this tin can. And because of their particular beliefs and mindset, how they experience it is going to be very different. Now, the situation is entirely the same. So what's made the difference is that middle box, the way that we experience that situation. And here's the thing, we don't see our beliefs, we don't see our thoughts. They're not tangible things in the same way as being on an aeroplane is a very tangible thing. So what happens is, if you aren't aware of your particular thoughts and beliefs, you feel as though it's the situation, it's the external situation that is making you feel like that. And if that's what you believe, you're going to feel quite powerless because you might not be able to immediately change the external situation. So what I'm going to do is just to show you in a bit more detail the particular beliefs and mindset that causes somebody to have a fear of flying. So obviously they've got their shit-tinted spectacles on. A biggie is they feel very out of control. Now, on an aeroplane, the only person who really is in control is the pilot. So for anyone else who's trying to be in control, who's looking out the window, listening out for every little sound, they're only going to feel stressed and anxious. Because actually, the thing that we can control on an aeroplane is our own thoughts. And when we do feel out of control, we can end up feeling quite helpless and quite powerless. And catastrophic thinking is a big component to having a fear of flying, just imagining, oh my God, the plane's going to crash, or I'm going to have a panic attack. And hypervigilance is just when you're super aware of everything going on around you. And even that is just a form of control. And also having a lack of belief in your coping skills, so not believing that you're able to cope, for example, if you come across some turbulence. So it's those things that cause how you experience that flight. And it can be easy to think that when somebody has a fear of something, that it's directly related to a particular event. But there are millions and millions of people who've got a fear of flying who've never had a trauma in an aeroplane. But how we create fears and phobias is with the power of our mind, and even just imagining negative outcomes can cause that fear. So I'm going to show you a much more positive example. So this is somebody who has nice, positive, rose-tinted spectacles about flying. They enjoy it. And a big part of the reason that they do is because they feel in control. Maybe they realise, you know, I've got the ability to control my emotions and control my thoughts on that flight. And because of that, they're going to feel powerful. And they're going to have good coping skills. I can cope with turbulence. I can cope with taking off. And they're also probably going to be thinking positively. So they're sat on the plane and they're looking forward to their holiday. And it's so much easier to think positively about things when you feel powerful and when you feel in control. So next we're going to do an example of a penetration situation with a woman who has vaginismus. So in the situation box, that's her trying to insert something. I didn't want to put a picture of a penis up there, so we've got a dilator, or it could be she's trying to insert a tampon or trying to have a medical examination. So if her experience, or your experience as a woman with vaginismus, is that brick wall, so you're just hitting the wall, or you're feeling pain, or you're feeling anxious and actually maybe don't even want to try, it's not just as simple as that cause and effect response. But if you believe that it is, of course, it's easy to believe that there must be something wrong with your vagina. And actually, most of the women that I work with do believe that at the start of the program. By the time they're a few weeks in, they don't believe that at all. But it's easy to believe that because the thoughts that cause vaginismus, the thoughts that cause that vaginal tension, are not tangible in a way that your vagina is. And the other thing that I want to mention is the pain that you experience with vaginismus is not just in your head. So I know this is all very much about your beliefs and your mindset, but when you're feeling that pain, it is a very real, genuine pain, but it will be preceded by the particular thoughts that you're thinking in exactly the same way as when we experience other symptoms like blushing. When we blush, it's a real tangible physical symptom, but it's caused by the ways that we're thinking and when we feel embarrassed or when we feel on the spot. So in box number 1, we've got the penetration situation. And of course, if you've got ship-tinted spectacles on about penetration and you're telling yourself, I can't do this or it will hurt, that's going to become a self-fulfilling prophecy, and vaginismus is the result. And in particular, the belief lenses and mindset that women with vaginismus have include just feeling out of control in the situation, feeling out of control when it comes to your body. And it's not surprising because so many women with vaginismus feel quite disconnected and quite alienated from their body. And when that's the case, when you feel that way, you can feel quite hopeless and powerless. Also having poor coping skills, so not believing that you can cope with the pain or with the disappointment, and that explains why for so many women they completely avoid penetration, and understandably. Catastrophic thinking, so this is going to be bad, this is really going to hurt. And negative thinking, which is, what's the point in even trying? And overthinking and brooding. So pretty much every woman I've ever worked with vaginismus is an overthinker. And with overthinking, what happens is you take something that might have started off that big in your head and you make it bigger and bigger and bigger. And the reason why we overthink anything is it is a form of control. But it actually only makes us feel even more out of control because you're expending all this mental energy, but nothing actually changes in the real world. And hypervigilant is you're just super aware, you're looking out for pain, and even what might be normal vaginal sensations can be misinterpreted as pain when you're feeling quite anxious. So much more positive one now. So when women overcome vaginismus, their particular beliefs and their mindset has changed. So in order for your outcome to be positive like this one, it's about creating a powerful mindset, which involves understanding your body and understanding how it responds. Also, having that emotional control. When you feel emotionally in control, you're going to feel much more enthusiastic about engaging in penetration experiences, and you're probably going to be much more successful because of that. And having good coping skills. So overcoming vaginismus is rarely just this linear process. There's going to be a few bumps along the way, but the better your coping skills are, the quicker you can bounce back from any disappointments, and you have the perspective of, do you know what, I'm just going to learn from this and I'm going to tweak that next time around. Having high self-belief. So generally when you feel better about yourself and you have more belief in your capabilities, you're going to put in more effort. You're going to feel more determined to get that end result. And positive thinking. So it's much easier to think positively when you feel powerful, when you feel in control. And this is why if anyone has ever told you to, just relax or just have a glass of wine, why that doesn't work, because if you don't feel powerful, it doesn't matter how well you try to relax your mind or your muscles, it's probably not going to lead to a positive outcome. Now, something that I've heard quite a lot from the ladies that I've worked with over the years is that their penetration experiences can seem quite random in terms of the outcomes. So it might be that one day they feel like they've done really well and then the next day they're really struggling, and it can seem entirely random. But the reality is it's not random. Whether you get a good outcome or a poor outcome is entirely about the particular thinking and responses that you're doing at that particular moment in time. Because the thing is, your vagina, the structure of your vagina, doesn't change from one day to the next. But what does change is the way that you're thinking. And it's really important to know the particular positive things that you are doing to create that outcome, in that you can keep on doing them and keep building upon those positive results. Now, you might have watched this video and whilst it makes sense to you, still be thinking, yeah, but it can't be easy to change your beliefs. So I absolutely want you to know that it is. You can absolutely change your beliefs because they're not set in stone like the size of your feet or the colour of your eyes. And as you've gone through your life, you will have changed your beliefs about certain things. You're not the same person now that you were a year ago or 5 years ago. And also it's really important to say that it's not your fault that you have vaginismus, because unfortunately, we're not taught how to manage our thinking. We're not taught how to create beliefs. So when we end up with a symptom such as vaginismus, it's entirely understandable. And also, it's easy when you know how to change your beliefs. There are particular ways, there are particular skills that you would learn in order to do this. Because feeling confident, feeling in control is a skill set that anyone can learn, and that's exactly what this program trains you to do.